Please be seated. I think we have Mr. Howard.
David Howard. Just remain standing for 1 moment.
Mr. Howard, would you state your full name for the record, please?
David Ian Ouch.
You and you wish to affirm or swear an oath?
Swear an oath.
You.
I, David Ian Held, swear by Almighty God that the evidence I shall give to the Commission shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Thank you. Please sit down. Thank you. Yes, Ms. Seawood.
Thank you. Mr. Howard, you are now retired, is that correct?
I am, yes.
And previously you worked at what was then the Department of Racing and Gaming,
Yes,
and you received a witness summons to appear before this Royal Commission,
I did. Yes.
and you received a list of questions
I
attached to
did.
that summons, and
Yes.
you prepared some answers to those questions.
Yes,
If you just look in front of you, there should be a copy of a piece of paper there.
yes,
If you could just have a look at that. Is that a document of 3 pages? That is your list of your answers to the questions you
it
asked?
is, yes.
And are there any errors you wish to correct in that document?
No,
And do you state that the answers contained in that document are true and correct to the best of your knowledge and belief?
they are.
Thank you. I tender the statement, which is number WIT.0004.0001.0001.
Does it have a date?
No, I don't believe it has a date. Mr. Harris, do you remember when you sent it?
I sent it in on the 12th of May.
Sent to the Commission on the 12th of May.
Thank you. The statement of David Halge, which is undated, and which bears the document identifier GWC.0004.0001.0001 is admitted into evidence as can considered. Now, Mr. Sharp.
Thank you, Mr. Commissioner. Mr. Howell, you started your working life as a teacher,
I did, yes,
and in 1970 you joined the West Australian Public Service,
yes,
and from 1970 to 1984 you worked in various roles, including with the Police Department, Bureau of Consumer Affairs, Public Service Board, and the Department of Occupational Health, Welfare and Safety. Is that correct?
that's right.
And then in 1985 you joined the Department of Racing and Gaming,
Yes,
and your first role at the Department of Racing and Gaming was as the Director of Corporate Services.
that's right.
And in 1987, you were promoted to the Director of Gaming position,
That's right.
and you were the Director of Gaming until 1997.
Yes,
And as Director of Gaming, your role concerned the licensing and supervision of gaming in the community, such as bingo, lotteries and two-up. Is that correct?
and gaming functions.
Gaming functions?
Yes.
Of what kind of gaming function?
We'd issue permits to people to conduct things like Crown and Anchor and those sort of games for the purpose of fundraising. And it was mainly issued to charitable organisations.
What was the name of the game, sorry? The game-
Crown and Anchor.
Crown and Anchor. What's Crown and Anchor involved?
It's a game. I haven't played it myself, but there were a number of games that were approved by the Commission for conduct outside the casino.
And so during that time and in that role, your responsibilities did not include regulation of the casino gaming?
That's right.
And is it correct that during that time the regulation of casino and casino gaming was performed by the officers of the Casino Control Division of the Department?
That's right.
In your witness statement, at the foot of page 1, you say that during the period 1987 to 1997, I also acted in the positions of Director of Liquor Licensing and Director of the Casino Control Division. Is that correct?
That's right.
And when you say that you act in those, you mean you were appointed as an acting Director of Liquor Licensing or an acting Director of the Casino Control Division, is that correct?
That's right.
And you were appointed in those roles from time to time, not for the whole 10-year period?
Not for the whole 10-year period.
And over that 10-year period, how much time did you spend in the role of acting Director of the Casino Control Division?
Approximately 3 months.
That's 3 months. And in your witness statement, you say that in 1997, the Gaming Division and the Casino Control Division were amalgamated. Is that right?
That's right.
And was that amalgamated division, the amalgamation of the Gaming Division and the Casino Control Division, was that called the Operations Division?
It was.
And were any other divisions amalgamated into the Operations Division apart from the Gaming Division and Casino Control Division? For example, was liquor...
No, the liquor licensing division wasn't amalgamated. However, the inspectorate and the licensing functions of the liquor licensing area came under the operations division.
And so then in 1997, you were appointed as the director of the operations division,
That's right,
and you were the first director of the new operations division.
I was.
And so your responsibilities as director of the operations division covered licensing and regulation of all liquor outlets, licensing and regulation of all gaming in the community, and licensing and regulation of casino gaming at Burswood and Crown Casino. Is that right?
That's right.
And then in 2007, you retired while still in the position of Director of Operations Division?
Yes.
And in 1997, you were appointed to the role of a Chief Casino Officer,
Yes,
and you continued in that role until you retired in 2007.
that's right.
And did you apply for the role of Chief Casino Officer, or was it something that was conferred upon you?
No, I applied for the role of Director of Operations, and having been appointed Director of Operations, I was appointed the Chief Casino Officer,
And who appointed you?
the Chairman of the Commission.
And the Chairman of the Commission, am I correct, was also the head of the department?
He was, yes.
And are you aware whether the Gaming Commission, as it was at that time, was given a choice of candidates for the role of Chief Casino Officer, or are you aware if you were simply appointed?
I was simply appointed.
And when the Gaming Commission became the Gaming and Wagering Commission, did you automatically continue on in the role of Chief Casino Officer, or was there a further appointment process at that time?
No, I believe I just continued on with the role.
And I'll just now call up a document, call up PUB 0008 005 001, which is the Government Gazette dated 22 April 1997. And can we please turn to page 14? I'll just ask you to look at the screen in front of you. Is that... Yeah, there we go. So this is at page 2062 of the Gazette, and it's a document. It's a notice which is headed Gaming Commission Appointment of Deputy Chairman Notice 1997. And can you confirm that this is a notice of your appointment as the Deputy Chairperson of the Gaming Commission?
It is, yes.
And so when you were in your role of Director of Operations, you were also the Chief Casino Officer and you were also the Deputy Chairperson of the Gaming Commission. Is that
That's
correct?
right.
Mr. Chairperson, I tender PUB 0008 005 001 being the West Australian Government Gazette dated 22 April 1997.
That document, which bears the identifier number PUB.0008.0005.0014, entered into evidence as an exhibit.
Now, in respect of that role of Deputy Chairperson, was that a role that you applied for, or was it a role that you were appointed to?
I was appointed to.
And who appointed you to that role?
Well, I thought it was the chairman, but this indicates that it went to the minister as well.
And when the Gaming Commission became the Gaming and Wagering Commission, did you become the Deputy Chairperson of the Gaming and Wagering Commission?
Yes, that's right.
And once again, was that a role that you applied for, or was that something
No,
that was...
I didn't apply for it. It was just given to me.
And as the deputy chairperson, what were your roles and responsibilities or your duties?
Essentially, to when the chairman was absent, and on a couple of occasions, I chaired the Gaming Commission or Gaming and Wagering Commission. Those were the only times that I acted as the deputy chairman of the commission.
So then turning back to the Chief Casino Officer role, at the time you were appointed as Chief Casino Officer to the Gaming Commission, as it was at the time, in 1997. The Gaming Commission had responsibilities for both casino gaming and community gaming.
Yes,
Is that correct?
yes, it did.
And did you understand that when you were in the role of Chief Casino Officer, you were limited to assisting the Commission in respect of casino gaming and not responsible for assisting them in respect of community gaming?
I was responsible as chief casino officer, yes, simply connected with casino gaming. But in my other role as director of operations, I was responsible for gaming outside the casino.
And so in respect of community gaming, if we can call
Yep.
it community gaming outside of the casino, you were providing assistance to the Gaming Commission in your capacity of the Director of the Operations Division, is that
That's right.
And then when the Gaming and Wagering Commission had came into existence, it then had responsibilities across casino gaming, community gaming and wagering. Is that your understanding?
That's right, yes.
And then in your role as Chief Casino Officer, were you still only assisting the Commission in respect of casino gaming?
No, both casino gaming as well as community gaming.
But in respect of your role of
Chief casino.
Chief Casino
Yeah,
Officer?
simply casino gaming.
And in respect of your role as Director of Operations Division, you continue to assist the Gaming and Wagering Commission in respect of community gaming?
That's right.
And did you have any role to assist the Commission in respect of wagering?
No, I didn't.
When you were appointed as the Chief Casino Officer in 1997, what experience did you have in respect of regulation and oversight of casinos and casino gaming? I know we've referred to your 3 months acting, so that might be one aspect. But what was the extent of your experience in regulation and oversight of casinos?
I had no experience as such. However, I had sat on the Gaming Commission from 1987 through to 1997 as Director of Gaming, as distinct from the Chief Casino Officer. And the information that came through the Commission during those 10 years, I was there to listen to all the information. And so I picked up a lot of information regarding the regulation of the casino.
So you would regularly attend the meetings?
I attended all the meetings.
And you attended the full meeting?
The full meetings, that's right.
And when you were appointed as the Chief Casino Officer, were you given any formal training at that point about regulation and oversight of casinos or casino gaming?
No formal training.
And you've just, I was going to ask you, how did you learn to perform the role? I think you probably answered that in part, but is there anything else that you'd like to add other than having attended the meetings over those 10 years?
No, nothing more to add.
When you were the Chief Casino Officer and Director of Operations, were you working on a full-time basis?
Yes, I was.
And what proportion of your time was taken up by your duties as the Chief Casino Officer?
I cannot allocate any particular proportion. It depended on the work that came across the desk. On occasions, I'd put in perhaps 70% of my time in relation to casino matters, and on other occasions, probably just 10% of my time.
On the question of remuneration, were you separately remunerated for your Director of Operations and Chief Casino Officer roles?
No, it came as a package.
And so were you remunerated in respect of your Director of Operations position and then required to perform the Chief Casino Officer roles? Is that how it operated?
That's right, yes.
And when you were the Chief Casino Officer, what did you understand the role and responsibilities of the Chief Casino Officer to be?
Essentially the regulation of the casino and casino gaming.
And what did you understand your responsibilities in respect of assisting the Gaming and Wagering Commission to be?
To put up papers to the Gaming and Wagering Commission or the Gaming Commission and to make recommendations relating to the regulation of the casino.
And at paragraph 7 of your witness statement, you say that as Executive Officer to the Gaming and Wagering Commission, it was my responsibility to write and or vet all submissions to the Commission and attend all Commission meetings. Consequently, I was aware of all decisions of the Commission in relation to the casino. Just to clarify, when you say that you were responsible to write and or vet all submissions to the Commission, was that only in respect of casino matters, or was that in respect of casino matters and community gaming, or broader than that?
Well, prior to me being appointed the Chief Casino Officer, it just related to community gaming. But after that, it related to both community as well as casino gaming.
But you weren't putting up, were you putting up the submissions to the Commission in respect of wagering matters?
No, I wasn't.
Who was responsible for setting the Commission's agenda for the next meeting?
I was responsible because all the submissions to the Commission came through me, and I would determine what went up and what didn't go up.
And did Commissioners regularly request that agenda items be added to the Commission's agenda?
Not that I could recall, but on occasions where they were not in a position to make a decision, they would ask for that to be brought back with additional information.
And did all of the deliberations of the Commission take place at Commission meetings, or were you aware of discussions that would happen outside of Commission meetings?
All at the Commission meetings.
And did you have any regular contact with the Commission members outside of Commission meetings?
No, I did not.
And did you have any contact at all, or was it really just confined to the...
It was just confined to the Commission meetings.
So what I'm intending to do now is to go through some of the different matters that came before the Commission while you were the Chief Casino Officer, and I'm going to do that by reference to the 2005 to 2006 annual report of the Department of Racing, Gaming and Liquor. So, and I understand that would have been the last complete financial year that you were the Chief Casino Officer. Is that your understanding?
That's right.
At your witness statement at paragraph 17, you make reference to submissions emanating from the casino relating to new games or gaming machines that they wish to introduce at the casino. And I'll just call up a document. Can we call up PUB 0008 0004 0661? So this is the annual report. Yep. And can we please go to page 665? And that's not the page that I intended to take you to, but I'll ask you just generally about, based on your witness statement, your reference to new games, does that intend to refer to new table games at the casino? Is that
It relates to both table games as well as gaming machines.
gaming machines? Well, yes, you've indicated that there were submissions relating to new games and gaming machines.
Yep.
And what would be the process for the Gaming and Wagering Commission to assess whether to approve a submission in respect of, for example, a new game?
Well, the game would be presented to us. I would pass that information on to a specific officer in the department who would be able to, who worked out the odds, etc. And having done that, he'd put up a submission through me to the commission. That would go to the commission. The officer would, with myself, would attend the commission meeting, explain it to the commission, and the commission then would make a decision. On occasions, people from the casino were asked to attend. They would provide input, and on that basis, the commission would either make a decision, basically.
And did the commission generally approve applications for new table games?
Yes, if it worked out where the odds were correct, they would.
And when you say the odds were correct, what do you mean by that?
Well, the percentages that went out to the customers. Now that related more to gaming machines rather than to table games.
And so then we can turn to the question of new gaming machines. What was the process for considering a submission that a new gaming machine?
Exactly the same as for table games, as I've explained.
And the other matter that I wish to take you to in the annual report, but I will just simply put it to you, is that sometimes rule variations were put for approval. And what was the process for approving a rule variation to the existing... Oh, sorry, the first thing I wish to ask is, were the rule variations only in respect of table games, or were rule variations also significant in respect of gaming machines?
Mainly in relation to table games.
And what was the process for assessing whether a rule variation to a table game should be permitted?
Well, again, the submission would go to our chief inspector. I think he was called the manager of inspections, and he would discuss it with the inspectors, and he would put up a report through me, which would go to the commission.
Can we please turn up page 678? Now, I'm going to ask you about this casino refurbishment. I might just give you a moment just to read through that. Is that large enough, or would you like that enlarged?
No, that's fine. That's fine.
And can we then scroll down to show the second half of that?
Yep.
Yeah. Stay there. So essentially what we see in those paragraphs which are currently on the screen, the fourth, fifth and sixth paragraphs of that entry is a proposal from the casino licensee to establish a new international gaming facility and then to refurbish the main floor, and that the net effect of that, set out in the fifth paragraph, that there'll be an increase of 30% in the casino's total licensed gaming area. And then it's noted in the final paragraph that it's expected that the Gaming and Wagering Commission will finalise consideration of the application early in the next reporting year. What was the process that the Gaming and Wagering Commission went through to assess whether to approve the establishment of the new facility and the refurbishment of the gaming floor with any?
Well, once again, it would go to the inspectors and mainly the manager of inspections. They would do whatever checks they needed to do to establish where the main gaming floor was, how large the main gaming floor was going to be, and also the international room, which was moved from the old casino to the hotel, and that then went up through me to the Commission for approval.
And do you recall if the application was ultimately approved?
I believe it was, yes.
I'm just going to call up another document now.
Sure.
Can we call up... oh, sorry. I will come back to this document, but it might be convenient to tender it now. The annual report of the Department of Racing, Gaming and Liquor 2005 to 2006.
The annual report of the Department of Racing, Gaming and Liquor for the year 2005 to 2006, bearing the identifier number PUB.0008.0004.0061, is admitted into evidence as an exhibit.
Call up PUB 0004 0005 0107. So this is the Gaming and Wagering Commission Act in its current form, and the reason I'm taking you to this is going to ask you some questions about delegations. I'm just going to take you to the delegation provision. So the delegation provision is now on the screen. That's it for the benefit of the transcript, is page 137. So you'll see at subsection 1 that there is a power for the Commission to delegate all or any of its powers, except the power of delegation to a member or a committee of the Commission, the Chief Casino Officer or Government Inspector, and in accordance with section 59(1)(d) of the Interpretation Act.
Yes.
And I won't take you to section 59(1)(d) of the Interpretation Act, but what it provides is that the delegation can be made to a specified person or to persons of a specified class, or may be made to the holder or holders for the time being of a specified office or class of office. That explains the scope of the delegation and the manner of delegation. Right. Now, at paragraph 13, you state that the Commission delegated its powers to you as the Chief Casino Officer pursuant to the Gaming and Wagering Commission Act.
Yes.
And so I take it that would have been a delegation under that section, section
That's
16?
right, yes.
Were you delegated some or all of the Commission's powers in your capacity as the Chief Casino Officer?
I believe I was delegated all of the powers.
And was there a separate delegation to you in your capacity as the Director of Operations Division?
No, there wasn't.
And was there a separate delegation to you in your personal capacity, to you personally?
I don't understand.
To you in your name, not in your capacity as the Chief Casino Officer, but
In my name.
In your name,
yes.
was
in my name as Chief Casino Officer.
As Chief Casino. And I'm also going to ask you about a delegation to the chairperson, so I just need to call up another document. We call up GWC 0002 0016 0082 at page 203. Just go straight to that page. So you'll see this is a delegation dated the 2nd of February 2004, and the delegation provides that the Gaming and Wagering Commission delegates to the chairman all of its powers conferred by the Betting Control Act, Casino Control Act and Gaming and Wagering Commission Act, other than the power of delegation. And do you understand this to be a general delegation of all of the powers of the GWC to the chairman?
Yes.
Commissioner, it might be convenient at this point just to tender that page, so GWC 0002 0016 0082 at page 203.
The document that Mr Sharp has just identified is admitted into evidence as an exhibit.
So, Mr Hobbs, the question I'd like to ask you about, in respect of this general delegation and the delegation that was made to yourself, is what was the intention in making these delegations? What was the purpose of making these delegations?
I guess the purpose was to enable people on a daily basis to undertake whatever duties they needed to undertake to, so that they could make decisions for the regulation, the proper regulation, and the efficient regulation of the casino, so that the casino, the Burswood or Crown didn't have to wait for the next commission meeting, which was in a month's time, to put up a submission.
And when these delegations were made, was it understood that the Commission still could exercise its own powers, and so that the powers were concurrently able to be exercised rather
Yes.
than an exclusive delegation?
Yes, concurrently.
And was there an understanding about which powers could be exercised by the delegates, or was it understood that any of the powers that had been
Any of the
conferred?
powers.
And was there any requirement for some form of pre-approval or some indication from the Commission before the powers were exercised?
No.
And was there a requirement to report back to the Commission on the exercise of delegated powers?
So that would certainly be the case, yes.
And was there ever an occasion, was there ever an occasion, or more than one occasion, when the Commission disagreed with how a delegated power had been exercised?
Not that I'm aware of.
And if there was a disagreement, how would it have been resolved?
Well, the Commission would, if it went to the Commission would overrule the decision made by the inspector or myself, and that would be conveyed to the casino.
I'm going to call up another document now. Can I please call up PUB 0004 0005 0001? So this is the Casino Control Act, and we've gone straight to page 45, which is section 25. So this is a section dealing with records, and I'll let you read that to yourself. So you see
Yep.
that's a provision about
Yep.
storage of books. And then can we please have page 46 and show subsection 2 of section 25? Just scroll down. And then we have I'll let you read subsection 2. This is a power which is conferred on the Chief Casino Officer directly, not by delegation. Do you agree with that?
Yes.
And call up GWC.002.0011.001, please. This is a letter to you in your capacity as, sorry, can we go to page 3? So this is a letter to you from the General Manager of Legal Services at Burswood International Resort Casino. And it's to you in your capacity as, it says Director of Operations, but presumably as Chief Casino Officer as well. It's dated the 29th of March 2004, and it sets out a request in respect of storage of records for the purpose of Section 25.
Yes.
Have you had the opportunity to
Yes,
read
I
that?
have. Yes.
So you'll see that it's a request regarding off-site storage.
Yes.
Can we then please go back to page 1 of that document? So this is a letter from you in your capacity as Chief Casino Officer to
Yes.
the General Manager Legal Services, and in that letter you confirm your approval of the storage arrangements outlined in his letter. Is that
Yes.
correct? And how would you have reported this back to the GWC? Or sorry. The question is, would you have reported this back to the GWC?
I may have. I can't recall.
Can't recall. And would you have received any guidance from the GWC about the exercise of the power about off-site storage?
No, I wouldn't have received any guidance.
So this is a matter you decided in your own discretion?
That's right. Yes.
Mr. Commissioner, I tender GWC.002.0011.001.
That document is admitted into evidence as an exhibit.
Sorry, Mr. Sharp, could I, the other page you showed him was page 3,
Yes.
is that right?
Yes.
So what's on page 2?
It's blank. Can we please go to page 2?
Thank you.
And there's also a 4th page for completeness. Can we please scroll through to the end of the document? I infer that it was double-sided and that's how it was copied.
Thank you.
Turning then to the question of the services provided by the department to the Gaming and Wagering Commission, we'll then go back to the annual report. So call up PUB.008.004.0686. Can we pop out the paragraph immediately under the table? I'll just let you read that for a moment, Mr. Halge.
Yes.
So the questions that I have in respect of that paragraph is, firstly, while you were the Chief Casino Officer, was it the case that during that whole time the GWC did not employ its own staff but used the departmental staff to provide licensing, inspectoral and executive support?
Yes, that's right.
And did the GWC use any other agencies other than the Department of Racing, Gaming and Liquor to provide support?
Not that I can recall.
Was there any support provided by the WA Police directly to the Commission?
Yes, it was. Early in the piece, both with the Casino Control Committee and the Gaming Commission rather. The department subsidised, I think, the salary of one police officer to make inquiries into junket operations, criminal activities, criminals, etc., etc.
And did that not continue through the time that you were Chief
It
Casino
probably continued for the initial part of my term as Chief Casino Officer, but I believe that was discontinued around about 98, 99 or thereabouts.
And just one other point to just ask you to note in this paragraph is that there's a reference to a cost recovery arrangement. And
Yep.
I'm going to take you to another paragraph to then discuss that further. I'll ask you further questions about that. Can we please pop out, go to page 734 and pop out the second bullet point under heading 1. Pop out the second paragraph under heading 1. Can you pop that out? Starting with the sentence, the department. Yes, that's right. So I'll just let you read that, Mr. Howard.
Yep.
And do you agree that, during the time that you were the Chief Casino Officer, was it the practice throughout that period for the department to provide services to the Gaming Commission and then the Gaming and Wagering Commission on a full cost recovery basis?
Yes.
Then turn to another document. Call up PUB.0004.005.0107. So I've gone back to the Gaming and Wagering Commission Act. Please go to page 139. And I'll just ask you can we pop out section 18, subsection 1? I'll just let you read that, Mr. Houch.
Yes.
So this section refers to the Commission by arrangement making use of the services of an officer or employee in the public service or in a state agency or instrumentality or otherwise in the service of the Crown and right of the state. During your time as the Chief Casino Officer, was there an arrangement of the kind referred to in section 18 between the GWC, firstly the Gaming Commission and then the GWC and the department for the purpose of that section?
And the department, you mean the Department of Racing and Gaming?
Yes.
Well, they made use of the full-time the employees of the department in relation to the licensing arrangements with the casino, as well as inspectorial arrangements with the casino.
So you're not aware of any formal arrangement, but there was in practice an arrangement. Is that your understanding?
Yes.
We'll then return to the annual report. Please call up PUB.0008.004.0686. We turn to page 690. Let me just enlarge that a little. I'll just ask you to read through that through to the third bullet point, that I'll ask you some questions. So then, taking that point by point, the first bullet point, sorry, the first paragraph refers to the department receiving, processing and determining applications in accordance with the legislation that it administers under delegation. So is that a reference there to the delegations that have been made by the Gaming and Wagering Commission through to you as Chief Casino Officer and to the chairperson, or is it broader than that?
I think it's delegations under the Casino Control Act.
Yes.
Both to the chairman as well as to the Chief Casino Officer.
And then turning to the first bullet point, which is under the heading Additional Services Offered Include, there's a reference there to executive support to the Gaming and Wagering Commission of Western Australia. Is that intending to refer to the executive support by way of preparation of meeting agendas and attendance at meetings?
Yes, it does.
And is it any broader than that?
No, I don't believe so.
No. The second bullet point refers to the Gaming Community Trust. Are you aware of that trust?
I was aware of it, but I had nothing to do with it.
Can you explain what the nature of that trust was, what it did?
No, I had nothing to do with it. I wouldn't have a clue.
No. And in the third bullet point, there's a reference to executive support to the Problem Gambling Support Services Committee. Are you familiar with that?
Again, I'm aware of it, but I had nothing to do with it.
Can we turn then to page 710? So this is headed Service 2, Compliance Audits and Inspections. And it refers to providing a range of inspectorial and audit functions of casino and community gaming, liquor licensing and the betting industries. You see that?
Yes.
In respect of inspectorial functions for the casino, can you explain to the Commission what those inspectorial functions were?
Well, we had inspectors at the casino itself, and it was their job to ensure that the gaming was conducted according to the rules, and they would do that through monitors to the cameras, and they would also walk around the floor and do whatever they needed to do to ensure that gaming was conducted correctly and properly and in accordance with the rules.
And you've referred to monitors and cameras. Where were the monitors that they were watching?
Well, the monitors that the inspectors had was in a room which was only accessed by government inspectors, and they could sit there and monitor the cameras, and they could also override the cameras. The cameras manipulated by the operator.
And when you say the camera is manipulated by the operator, is that the casino operator?
Casino operator, yes.
So the casino inspectors had access to the cameras of the casino?
The casino people could manipulate the cameras. They were watching people. And the government inspectors likewise were doing exactly the same.
And how many inspectors would be at the casino at any given time?
Earlier on, there were 4 inspectors on at any one time, 24/7. As time went on, that was reduced to, I think, 2 inspectors.
And if you then go to the list of inspectorial functions in the annual report, the first one is casino surveillance. I think that you've described the casino surveillance. Is there anything you wish to add to that?
No, I don't.
The second is physical inspection and the auditing of financial returns in relation to permitted gaming activities. Did that apply to the casino, or was that
No, that's right to community gaming.
community gaming?
I'm sorry, I missed that.
That relates to community gaming, gaming outside the casino.
And do any of those other bullet points relate to the casino?
No, it doesn't.
Can we then scroll up through to show the third paragraph, please? And pop out in the third paragraph. Sorry, the one above that. I'll just let you read that paragraph, Mr. Hutch.
Yep.
So far as it concerns the casino and casino gaming, was there any other aspect of the inspectorial program other than what you've already described to me?
No.
Can we then pop out the next paragraph, paragraph 4? So I'll just let you read that paragraph, Mr. Hodge.
Right.
So this paragraph refers to risk-based compliance assessment programs. What were the risk-based compliance assessment programs that applied to casino gaming?
Well, prior to me becoming Chief Casino Officer, the Casino Control Division started developing risk assessment programs. And they started mainly with the casino, and they developed a number of programs that also related to, later on, assessment programs in relation to community gaming. So those programs were used as a risk assessment with regard to the surveillance of the casino, surveillance of community gaming, and inspections of various activities, both at the casino as well as outside the casino.
And in forming those risk assessments, was that a matter that was done by the department and then approved by the commission?
Yes.
Is that how that
Yes, it
operated?
was.
Right.
Yep.
And I realise it might be difficult to answer this question without any papers in front of you, but what were the sorts of risks that were assessed to be risks that should be considered as part of that risk assessment?
I really can't answer that.
No, it's difficult without any papers in front of you, etc. Can we go to the 5th paragraph, please? I'll just read that paragraph, Mr. Hodge. Commencing in addition.
Yep. Right.
So there's a reference in that paragraph to conducting daily verification of casino gaming revenue. How did that daily verification of casino gaming revenue occur? I
really can't answer that question.
And I was going to ask you the same in respect of the monthly casino tax reconciliations. Are you familiar with how that occurred?
No, I'm not.
And then going to the third bullet point, there's a reference to 5,368 inspections and audits. Can you explain the distinction between an inspection and an audit in this context?
Well, the inspections would be inspectors at the casino doing their daily inspections, walking around the casino floor, or as I've mentioned earlier, monitoring casino operations through monitors, through the cameras. So that would be the inspections, and the audits would be the risk-based audits that we spoke about previously.
And how would those risk-based audits be conducted? What was the nature of those audits?
Well, they had an audit program, which they would take to the casino and go through that audit program, and then report back to the department or to me or the chief inspector. And if there was any discrepancies or any breaches, we would take that to the commission.
And how was the allocation of resources between, sorry, I should step back. Were you responsible for directing the allocation of resources between inspection and audit?
Essentially, the manager of inspections did that.
And are you aware of whether there was more of a resource allocation to inspection or to audit, or you're not?
I think it was just 50-50.
50-50. And how was the information that was obtained, what information obtained from the inspection and audit program was taken to the Gaming and Wagering Commission?
Only where there was a breach or the rules were not being followed, that would then be taken to the commission.
And did the Gaming and Wagering Commission have a role in directing the inspection and audit program? Or
Not the commission,
not the
no.
commission? We then turn up page 711. So at the top of that page, so that was the next page, sorry. At the top of that page, there's a reference to 4 violations were issued against the casino operator relating to breaches of game rules, procedures, or directions. I realise this was
Yes.
16 years ago, but what were the kind of nature of violations that you would see being issued against the casino operator, even if you can't specifically remember what these ones were?
Specifically, I don't know.
No.
But as it says over there, it was a breach of the game rules and a breach of directions. And we would put up a submission to the commission. And in most cases, the commission required the licensee to attend the commission meeting and to address the matters.
And the reference to breaches of game rules, what kind of game rules might be breached or had been breached?
I can't answer that question, honestly.
And those breaches of game rules, how would they have been detected? Are you able to?
Either through the audit programs or through the inspections.
The second bullet point refers to 5 formal complaints from casino patrons being investigated. How did those complaints come to the attention of your inspectors?
Well, there would be a complaint made to the department, either to myself or to one of the inspectors, and we would investigate it.
And what was the general nature of those complaints?
Well, I don't know, but I can give you one example that I was involved with. Somebody made a complaint that he was card counting, for example, and the casino refused him entry into the casino. So we investigated that.
And he denied that he'd been card counting, is that?
No, he said he was card counting.
He said he was card counting?
Yes, he was.
So why was he making the complaint then?
Because the casino had barred him from the casino.
Oh, I see. So he had been counting and he was barred, and then he was complaining that he'd been barred.
That's right.
Right. We'll then turn to a different document. This is, I'll call up PUB.0008.004.0562. So this is the annual report for the previous year, 2004 to 2005. Can we turn to page 574, please? Sorry, I think we need the next page, 575. Sorry, can we go to 573? I think I've got the wrong page. Excuse me a minute, Commissioners. Have you got the document? Can you search for breach of directions? Search for the word. Sorry, page 576. Is that 6? 6. I'll just ask you to read under that heading, breach of directions by Burswood International Resort Casino. So my question is, what would the audit process have been that's referred to at the start of that paragraph, an audit in May 2004? What would the audit process have been?
Well, it was probably one of the audit programs that had been developed, and that program obviously related to the keys, and the inspector going through the audit program discovered that a breach had occurred. That was then reported to the Commission.
Chairperson, I attended that annual report.
The
Annual report with
the number
numbers PUB dot 0008.004.56. Sorry, .0562.
the annual report of the department for 2004 to 2005, bearing the document identifier, which Mr. Sharp has just read out, is submitted into evidence as an exhibit.
We'll then return to the annual report for 2005 to 2006. Turn to page 678. And just go to the bottom two paragraphs and enlarge those. Just ask you to read those two paragraphs, Mr. Houch. And then can we have the first paragraph of the next page, please? Just ask you to read that paragraph. Mr. Houch.
Right.
So what I would like to ask you about that is it's referring to a collaborative approach between the Department of Racing, Gaming and Liquor and Police. Just wanted to ask if that collaboration that's being described there was in respect of, it's identified as being in respect of liquor, but was it also being applied in respect of casino gaming?
No, it wasn't.
No,
Just community gaming.
just community gaming.
Yes, liquor and community gaming.
And so at this time, in around 2005 to 2006, what was the extent of the collaboration between the Department of Racing, Gaming and Liquor and the police in respect of casino regulation?
There was no collaboration.
Sorry, did you say no?
No collaboration.
Can we then go to page 664 at the foot of the page? So this is the director's overview, and there's a reference at the bottom of the page. Just ask you to read that last paragraph.
Yep.
And then can we have the first paragraph of the next page, please? And then can we go to page 672? And can we show the whole page, please? And then go down and zoom out that section, casino employee licensing process streamlined. I'll just let you read through that, Mr. Houch. So this is talking about a particular streamlining of the casino employee licensing program, but just to step back and consider the program, the process of licensing casino employees generally, did you exercise a delegated power to grant or refuse casino employee licenses and key employee licenses?
Yes.
And how did you go about that task?
The application, the report from the police, and if everything was clean, I would approve the license. If there was anything untoward, such as an offence, a jail time or whatever, I would wait for the police report, and then I would put that up to the Commission.
So would you put matters where there were no concerns up to the Commission, or determine them yourself?
I would determine them myself.
And matters where there was some sort of issue of the kind you've described, that would be referred to the Commission?
That's right.
And when you were performing that task, did you do that work yourself, or did you rely on other departmental officers to perform?
I did. I made the decisions myself.
And what was the change of process in that's being referred to in this annual report? Can you explain how that process was changed in around that time?
Well, I guess what happened, if my recollection is correct, is that the casino complained that it was taking a long time to approve these licenses because we had to wait for a police report. So the process was changed to the extent that I was able to provide a provisional approval so that employees could go into the casino and be trained in the type of activities that the casino was employing them for. And that was on the basis of just a police certificate saying, we believe that it's okay for Joe Bloggs to go in and be provisionally approved. On occasions, the police report would come back and say, we're now of the opinion that this person's not a proper person, a fit and proper person. That would then be taken to the commission, and the commission would make a determination.
And what did you understand to be the purpose of licensing casino employees and key employees?
Well, to make sure that fit and proper people were employed at the casino.
And in the questions that were put to you...
Recording in progress.
In the questions that were put to you for your witness statement, you were asked about risks of criminals infiltrating casino operations.
Right.
And did you understand that one of the reasons for the licensing process was to stop criminal infiltration of casinos? Or
From the employee point of view, yes.
can we call up PUB 0008 0004 0562? This is going back to the 2004-2005 report, annual report. And turn to page 574. Can I ask you to read the renewal of casino and casino key employee licences section?
Right.
And can we have the next page, please? And so, did this change to the system come about as a result of, or how did this change the system come about?
Well, I think it was a review of the national competition policy
Right.
that threw up the anomaly in relation to casino employees and casino key employees.
And this states that there were 715 licences that were renewed.
Right.
Did that add much to the administrative burden for?
It did for me.
It did for you.
I had to approve them all.
Yeah. And did you consider that this change to the process did lead to better outcomes in terms of?
Well, certainly better outcomes, because on occasions where a person had been convicted of a crime of whatever, it wouldn't be brought to my attention, although under the Act they were required to advise the Commission. Because we instituted a renewal process, which I think was every 5 years, even if they didn't advise us under the provisions of the Act, we would get to them in 5 years' time or 3 years' time, as the case may be.
Chairperson. Is that a convenient time?
Yes, we'll come back at 11:35. Thank you.
Guys.
Thank you. Please be seated. Thank you, Mr. Howard. Yes, Mr. Sharp.
We'll now turn to a different topic, which is the regulation of controlled contracts. Call up GWC 0002 0016 0266, please. Turn to page 19. See, this is a document which is directed to the Chairman of the Gaming Commission of Western Australia. And if we can just scroll through the next 2 pages. See if that's a document which is signed by you, Mr. Houch?
Yes, that's right.
Yes. Have you had some opportunity to look at that document? I'll take you through it now in a bit of detail, but
Okay.
have you had an opportunity?
I have
to
had an
refresh?
opportunity, yes.
Yes. So if we go back to the page 19. So going back to the first paragraph, identifies the Casino Control Act 1984 did not provide for the Commission to require a person to be approved for the purpose of supplying gaming equipment to the casino. But then the Casino Control Committee / Gaming Commission issued a direction pursuant to Section 24 of the Casino Control Act, directing the operator not to obtain any equipment without the approval of the Commission. And then I'll just ask you to read paragraph 2 to yourself again. So this is referring to the 1996 review. And then in paragraph 3, can we please scroll up? Identifies the review concluded there was no need for manufacturers to be approved and recommended suppliers be investigated and approved under controlled contracts where the amount of the contract is greater than a prescribed figure, and recommended a figure of $250,000. If we can then go to, sorry, have you?
Yes.
Yes. We then go to page 22 of the document. So see, this is a letter. Oh, sorry, can you go to the next page? And the next page. It's a letter from Mr. Michael Egan, Vice President, Government Relations and Legal Services. And so then go back to page 22. The letter's dated the 3rd of July 1998 and directed to you, Mr. Halge. And on that first page, there's a quotation, 2 paragraphs, which is from the review. Can we then go to the, yes, so in particular, I should just ask you to read both of those paragraphs. So it's the review proposing this prescribed contract.
Yes.
Yes. And then we go back to page 19, please. And at paragraph 4, so the result of the review was that sections 29A to 29E were inserted into the Casino Control Act to provide for controlled contracts. Then in the next paragraph, you note that you've spoken with Burswood and they're concerned about the administrative burden from the controlled contracts provision.
Right.
And then at paragraph 6, you note some changes to the approval process for suppliers. And can we go to the next page, please? And then just zoom in a bit so we can see the top more clearly. And so just turning to what's paragraph 7, but the paragraph commencing additionally, referred to changes to the principal directions.
Right.
And identify prior approval is now only required where sensitive equipment is being purchased. What's the understanding of why that is sensitive equipment? What's listed?
It was essentially equipment that was related to gaming on the floor of the casino.
And what's the expression programmed EPROMs referring to?
You'd have to ask a technical person, but I think it relates to gaming machines.
Gaming machines. And can we then go to page 25? Turn to page 25. And then just zoom it out 10.5. Now I note at the bottom of this that it says the direction 10.5 has been amended and the last date is 25 September 2008. So there's been some amendment to this since you finished as the Chief Casino Officer.
Right.
But in substance, is that the direction that you're referring to?
That's right. It is.
Then if we can go back to page 23. Sorry. Page 20. So paragraph 8, you've noted that Burswood did not support invoking the controlled contracts provision.
Right.
And then in paragraph 9, you describe that the previous approval process was symptomatic of the Casino Control Committee, Casino Control Division being involved in every aspect of the operation of the casino. And so that given there was little expertise in the mid-1980s, this was seen to be the only way to regulate the casino. In hindsight, this proved to be correct. Can you explain why you say it proved to be correct that there was a need for the Casino Control Committee or Casino Control Division to be involved in every aspect of the operation of the casino at that time?
Essentially, everything was new. Casino Control Committee was new. The government inspectors were new. The casino itself was new. And given the public opinion that the casinos attracted criminal-type people, it was decided to make sure that everything purchased by the casino was approved by the Commission.
In that reference you've just made to public opinion that the casino attracted criminal-type people, can you give more detail about what you're referring to there? What formed that public opinion or how you understood that public opinion to arise?
Well, I think that was the public opinion in the media, emanating from the US, etc., etc. That's where that public opinion came from.
And in this paragraph, you refer to this proved to be correct, but translated into unnecessary delays which frustrated the Burswood Casino. You've then shifted your view about how the casino can be regulated at this time. Is that? So I suppose I'll try and put that more clearly. You've said in hindsight it proved to be correct that it
Right.
needed to be managed very closely, but by this point have you shifted your view about the approach to regulation that's appropriate?
Yes, I
And
have.
what's your view at that time?
At that time, that approval should only be made, approval by the Commission should only be made for certain types of gaming equipment, i.e. sensitive gaming equipment. And yeah, that's right.
So then in the next paragraph, you state that given that the approval process has been streamlined, you're of the view that the direction should not now be withdrawn. So just the sentence, given that the approval process, do you see that one?
Yes, I can see that, yes. I guess what is the direction? I need to have a look at the direction.
Oh, so I think that the direction is the direction that I took you to a moment ago at page 25, or is that not right? Sorry. Can we go to page 25, please? I'm concerned that I might be taking you to the wrong direction. That's a direction specifically about sensitive gaming, isn't it?
Right, yes it
And
is.
the direction you're talking about is a direction about contracts, not necessarily for
Sensitive equipment.
sensitive equipment.
Yeah,
I'm not sure that I have that to produce.
Right.
Sorry about that.
right, that's okay.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I'm not sure I've understood that. Is it that the controlled contracts that we're talking about here are all about the purchase, the supply of equipment, and it's just the type of equipment, or are we looking at control contracts that go outside the scope of purchase of equipment?
It's controlled contracts going outside of the scope of that sensitive gaming equipment. So there was another direction which dealt with that, as I understand, but I haven't got that here, I'm afraid. If we can go back to the page 20. So paragraph 10, you advise we shouldn't withdraw the direction, which I think is the
Right.
general direction, not limited to sensitive equipment. Then at paragraphs 11 and 12, you do recommend notification but not approval of contracts above $500,000.
Right,
And then your recommendation appears at the foot of the page.
right.
And then can we have the next page, please? So this is sorry, go back to the previous page. This is requiring purchases or contracts that are above an amount of $500,000 to be notified, but the purpose is to notify, the requirement is to notify, not to seek approval.
That's right.
For those.
Yes.
And can we turn to page 13, please? And this is the minutes which show the resolution 269 of 99, where the resolution which you've proposed has been adopted.
Right.
One question which I had in respect of the controlled contracts resolution which is set out there is that point 5 is that an audit program be developed and a sample audit be conducted.
Right.
Are you able to explain how that audit and sample audit program was conducted?
Well, it was developed by the department, and once it was developed, one of our officers went out and did an audit of the contracts and put up a report to the Commission.
And when you describe a sample audit being conducted, what's the sample audit?
Well, the sample audit was the very first audit to see whether that was A-OK or whether we needed to alter the audit in some way to include other aspects.
And what was the purpose of the audit? What was being audited?
Well, to ensure that all purchases above a certain figure was reported to the Commission, and to ensure that sensitive purchases of sensitive equipment approval was sought for those purchases prior to actually going ahead with the purchase.
So we'll turn then to a different topic, which is the topic of what's being put as capital RISKS risks in the witness statement. In the questions that were put to you as an attachment to the summons. So in those questions, you were asked about risks, capital RISKS, which were defined to be risks associated with junket operations, money laundering, cash and electronic transactions. It's been pointed out to me that I've moved on without tendering the previous document.
That's the
Tender the GWC 000200160266, which is the agenda pack for 26th of February 2019.
that document is admitted into evidence as an exhibit.
Sorry. Turning back to this question of risks, the risks are risks associated with junket operations, money laundering, cash and electronic transactions at the Perth Casino, and criminals infiltrating casino operations. And in your witness statement at page 2, paragraph 7b, you respond by saying, to the best of my knowledge, the inspection of the casino by departmental inspectors did not involve money laundering or cash and electronic transactions at the casino or criminals infiltrating casino operations, and that these matters fell to the police unit which investigated and reported to the Commission. To the best of my knowledge, the unit was disbanded in the late 1990s. So, which police unit were you referring to there?
Well, there was just a one-person unit. That was, I think I mentioned earlier, that the casino, the Commission, or the department, funded the salary of one police officer. And that police officer worked solely for investigating junket operators, where they're coming from, where the money's coming from, any criminal activity, any criminal background, and that would then be reported to the Commission.
And that's the officer that you say stopped assisting
Yes.
at some time in the
Yes.
late 90s?
That's right.
And so far as the role of the inspectors, were the inspectors told anything about money laundering, whether they were responsible for investigating money laundering?
No, they weren't responsible for money laundering.
Or were they told that they were responsible for investigating criminal elements?
No, they weren't. They weren't.
Sorry, they weren't responsible or they weren't told?
They weren't responsible.
I think the question was, were they told that?
Well, they weren't told either.
Sorry,
They were told that they weren't responsible for investigating criminal activities.
So were they told not to investigate money laundering, or were they simply not told to do something about it?
Well, they were told not to investigate money laundering. They didn't have the expertise to investigate those sorts of matters.
And they were told not to investigate whether criminal elements were seeking to infiltrate the casino?
That's right. They were told not to do that.
And if an inspector did find evidence of money laundering, what was the expectation Was there an expectation about what the inspector would do, or were they given directions about what they would do if they found evidence of money laundering?
Well, they would report that to myself. I would then, in the early days, seek the advice of the police person involved, and based on that, on his report back to me, we would either take it up to the commission or it would just stay with me if it was okay. As time went on, and the service of the police person was disbanded. If an inspector, a government inspector, felt that there was criminal activity or any money laundering, once again it would be reported to me, and I in turn would take it up to the commission. But having said that, I didn't have an opportunity. There was not one occasion when I had to take that up to the commission.
Sorry, I missed that.
While I was Chief Casino Officer, from 1998, 99 onwards, once the police unit was disbanded, I didn't need to take any report up to the commission that was brought to me by inspectors in relation to criminal activities or money laundering.
And as you, the best of your recollection, when the police unit of one person was there,
Yes,
did any incidents occur?
I believe there was a couple of incidents, yes. Again, I might add, it wasn't during my time, it was before my time as Chief Casino Officer.
So in that period, 97 to 98, 99, which I
Yes.
think is the period you mentioned,
Yes,
there were no incidents?
there were
brought to
no
your
incidents, no.
Then turning more to the position of the Gaming and Wagering Commission and its role, was it your understanding that the Gaming and Wagering Commission, or the Gaming Commission initially, and the Gaming and Wagering Commission had a role or responsibility to investigate money laundering?
I really can't answer that question. Under the Act, they probably did have a role, and that's why they had this liaison with the police to investigate those matters.
And you say that they may have had that role, but as a matter of practice, there was no action by the GWC after the assistance from the police unit ceased. Is that?
That's right, yes.
And did the GWC have any specific policies or procedures in place concerning money laundering at the casino?
No, they didn't.
And was your understanding that the GWC would have a role or responsibility regarding the infiltration of criminal elements into the casino under their legislative responsibilities?
I guess they did have some responsibility over there, but there was no mechanism to bring that up to the Commission.
So when you say there was no mechanism to bring that up, what do you mean by that?
Well, the police unit had been disbanded, so we couldn't get information from them. Our inspectors weren't trained in that area, so they weren't in a position to put up any reports to the Commission.
And did the GWC have any specific policies or procedures relating to criminal infiltration into the casino?
Not that I'm aware of.
I'll turn into a different topic, which is the regulation of junkets. So from 1988 to 1999, I understand there were directions in force which required the Gaming and Wagering Commission to licence or approved junket operations. Is that correct?
I believe it is, yes.
And what was the purpose of having those requirements for licensing or approval of junket operations in place?
Well, I guess during that period from 97, 98, that police unit was still operating. So the information that the casino provided us, we would provide to the police person, and that person would do whatever investigations they had to do, and then report back to the commission.
I'm going to take you now to, there's a 1996 review of the Gaming Commission Act, which I'll call up, which is PUB 0004 0002 0129. And if you can turn to page 234. So the section I'm directing your attention to starts section 24, directions to casino licensee in respect of casino gaming operations.
Right.
I'll just ask you to read those two paragraphs. And then if we can go over the page, please, to 235. And just zoom out, please, so that we can see the whole page. Can we then focus in on the sentence starting junket operators and the 4 bullet points under that? I'll just ask you to read those 4 bullet points and the sentence above it. Does that accurately state the position under the directions, the procedures under the directions?
Yes, it does.
Yes. And were those junket procedures applied consistently across the period from 1988 to 1999, or was there some relaxation?
No, I believe it was applied stringently.
Applied stringently
Yeah.
across that whole time?
Yes.
Sorry, can we zoom out again, please? Show the full page. And can we focus in on paragraph 2, please? So this says the casino has established a substantial junket trade which contributes significantly to casino revenue and subsequently to the amount of taxation paid to the state. Identifies the proportion.
Sorry.
So paragraph 2.
Yes.
And then identifies the proportion of the casino's gross revenue from junket trade.
Right. Are you asking me if that's correct?
Well, to your understanding, is that correct?
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Yes.
Now, did you consider that the request for a relaxation of the junket requirements on the basis that there was strong competition to attract new junkets was an argument that it had merit and substance, or in light of the substantial existing junket trade, did you think that that was not an argument that had merit?
No, I think it had merit.
It had merit?
Yes.
You believe?
I believe it had merit.
We then turn to page 148. So note recommendation 46. This is the Minister's response to recommendation 46. Can we bring up recommendation 46? So note there's the Minister's endorsement of withdrawing the direction regarding junket operations, which has been proposed. But then the Minister responds, the Act be amended to enable regulations to be enacted requiring junket operators and their representatives to be investigated and approved by the Commission, with approval to be effective from the lodgement of applications, but able to be withdrawn by the Commission upon an adverse finding by the Commission or on the recommendation of the Commissioner of Police.
Yes.
And that then led to regulations being made about junkets.
Yes, I believe so. Yes.
And can we call up PUB 0004 0005 0476? So these are the casino control regulations in the form that they were enacted, brought into existence. And is it correct that from 1999 when it came into effect until 2007 when you finished your role as chief casino officer, that these were the means through which junkets were regulated?
Yes.
And if we can turn up page 481, please. So regulation 5.1 provides for the ability of an individual to apply for approval to conduct junkets as a junket operator or as a junket operator's representative.
All right.
And then you can see at regulation 6, there's documents. Can we zoom into regulation 6 a bit more, please? So documents that are required to accompany an application.
Yes.
And can we go over to the next page, please? If you can then go back to page 481 at the foot of the page again. Just to draw attention to regulation 6.1c. An authority authorising the Commission and the Commissioner of Police to make inquiries in Australia or overseas, or both, about the applicant's character and financial standing. This seems to contemplate that there will be some involvement of the Commissioner of Police
Yes.
in assessing junket applications. But as a matter of practice, was there an involvement of the Commissioner of Police at that time, or was it just...
What time are we talking about?
So 1999, but this was then in place through till 2007, while you were there.
Right.
Was
Well, initially, while the police person was involved, yes, we would make inquiries with him or her. Subsequently, I believe that we made inquiries if and when we required to make inquiries.
so there's still liaison.
There would have been some liaison.
Can we then turn to page 484? And regulation 12, just ask you to, can we zoom regulation 12 out? I realise we're asking you to go back a long way, but were there requests for further information that were made routinely, or do you recollect if there
Certainly wasn't done routinely. May have been the odd occasion when additional information was sought.
And why would additional information be sought?
There could have been something in the application that triggered something, and as a result of that, additional information was sought.
When you say triggered something, what sort of thing?
You know, any knowledge of his associates or something like that, and if his associates were considered people of a criminal nature, well, additional information might be sought.
Can we then go to Regulation 16, which so see Regulation 16.1 provides that a casino operator must give the Commission notice of the commencement of a junket at least 24 hours before the junket party arrives at the casino.
Yes.
What use was made of that notice?
Essentially, that we knew a junket was coming in. The inspectors would be there for the buy-in, and at the end of the junket operation, they'd be there for the settlement. That's the reason that they were required to notify us.
So an inspector was present at the casino for on those two occasions for every junket?
Yes, that's right.
And was the notice of the proposed junket that was given, was that then shared with the WA Police?
Prior to 99, yes, it would have been. After that, probably not.
I'm going to move to a different topic now. Can we call up PUB 0008 0004 0001, please? We turn to page 14. So this identifies the senior officers within the Office of Racing, Gaming and Liquor, and Executive Director, Mr. Barry Sargent, and Director of Operations is you, Mr. Howard?
That's right. Yes.
And then can we please go to page 13? So note this is an organisational chart as at 30 June 2001.
Right.
And you can see the Executive Director at the top of the chart, and then it has a line going to Operations Division. I take it that was the division you were the Director of?
Yes.
And then under the Operations Division, we see 3 further divisions:
Yes.
Audit and Review, Inspections and Licensing.
Yes.
And I just particularly note that it's Audit and Review,
Right.
because I'm going to contrast that with what's in the next annual report. So before I go to the next annual report, Mr. Chair, I tender PUB 0008 0004 0001, which is the Office of Racing, Gaming and Liquor annual report for 2000-2001.
That document is admitted into evidence as an exhibit.
And then call up PUB 0008 0004 0089, please. So this is the Office of Racing, Gaming and Liquor Annual Report 2001, 2002, yes, that's right. And can we go to page 13, I think? Yes, page 13. Now, this is the year subsequent to the one that we were just looking at, and you'll see still have Director General, then Operations Division, and under that, Audit and Risk Assessment, Inspections and Licensing.
Yep.
And so the question that I have is, why was there a renaming of that area from audit and review to audit and risk assessment? Can you recall why that was changed?
I think risk assessment more clearly defined the actual work that was being carried out.
And did this reflect any change in thinking about the nature of the work that was being...
No.
No. Chairperson, I tender PUB 0008 0004 0001, the Office of Racing, Gaming and Liquor Annual Report for 2001-2002.
That document is also admitted into evidence as an exhibit.
We then turn back to... Sorry, no, we stay with that document. Yeah. Can we turn to page 111 of that document, please? So you see, about 2/3 of the way down the page, functions performed on behalf of the Gaming Commission of Western Australia. That's what's being identified here. And then if we continue over the page, there's the heading Casino Gaming Operations. And I'll just ask, can we scroll up so that Casino Gaming Operations and the text under it can be clearly seen? Can you scroll it up further? I'll just ask you to read through this. Is that large enough? We can get...
Yeah, I'm fine.
larger.
Yes. Right.
And can we just go over the next page just to make sure there's no further discussion of this topic of the next page? So I'll just let you finish reading that section so you've read it completely. So then if you can go back to the page 112, please. And can we then just zoom in the paragraph under Casino Gaming Operations? So those 5 bullet points, as I understand it, are setting out the reasons for the shift from the sort of 24/7, 365
Yes.
presence to a more limited presence.
That's right.
And in particular, there's the second bullet point identifies the removal over the years of inspectors from casino operational provisions based on a risk analysis of the activities that are considered to be the primary role of the casino operator. So is part of the reason for the shift away from a permanent presence to a sort of near permanent but not permanent presence based on understandings of risk?
Yes, yes. Those were the programs that we had developed.
Yes.
And we implemented those programs on a daily basis.
Yes, and so would you explain for the Commission, or firstly, were you satisfied that this approach would still provide an appropriate level of oversight of the casino?
That was the belief at the time, yes.
Yes. And how were you satisfied through your risk analysis approach that that would be adequate oversight of the casino?
Well, this was introduced before I became CCO. It had started to be introduced before I became CCO. It didn't happen till later. But the risk assessment programs were being developed from about 1995, 96 onwards. And slowly, gradually, the risk assessment programs were being introduced, even though inspectors were permanently at the casino. And as a result of the success of the risk assessment programs, the decision was made to withdraw government operators from the casino 24/7.
So if I understand what you're saying, that you were satisfied. Well, sorry, was it your decision or
No,
was
it wasn't my decision
whose
because
decision?
I wasn't there in 96, 95, 96.
But the decision in 2001, 2002
Yes.
to reduce the hours of the inspectors, was that your decision or
No, it wasn't my decision. It was the Commission's decision.
the
Commission,
the Commission made that decision?
yes.
And did they make it on a recommendation?
I cannot recall.
No. So is your understanding that the Commission was satisfied that the risk assessment assessment would lead to sufficient oversight of the casino that a permanent presence at the casino was no longer required?
I believe the Commission was advised that we were moving away from permanent presence at the casino to a risk-based approach. Now, whether they were satisfied, I can't answer that question.
Would they have been given the option of not accepting that, or was that something that was never?
Well, it was always an option for them not to accept it.
Yes. I'll move to a different topic now to do with financial matters. I attended that. Call up PUB 000200200156. So we're returning to the 2005 to 2006 annual report. Can we then go to page 13, please? And just ask you to read the paragraph under summary of financial and non-financial indicators. Sorry, and I just realised my juniors pointed out this is actually not the document we were looking at earlier. This is the Gaming and Wagering Commission annual report, not the department's report. And then can we turn to page 74? Can we zoom out the top half of the page a bit more, please? Now, I'd just like to draw your attention to the entry. So this is an explanatory statement for the Gaming Wagering Commission's financial statements, and it identifies significant variances between estimated and actual results for 2006. And you'll see the third row, services and contract fees. 2006 estimate is $3 million and a bit, and then the actual for 2006 is about $2.5 million. So there's a variance of just over $426,000. So the actual services and contract fees were $426,000 less. Can we then scroll down to services and contract fees? I'll just ask you to read that to yourself.
Right.
So, are you able to speak to the arrangement for the recouping of the value of the services between the GOSE and the department?
No, I'm not in a position.
No.
That was done entirely by the chairman, who was also the Director General of the department.
Okay. Oh, yes. Sorry, Kim. Chairperson, I tender PUB 000200200156 being the Gaming and Wagering Commission Annual Report for 2005 to 2006.
That document is submitted into evidence as an exhibit.
Call up PUB 0008 00040562, which is the annual report for 2004-2005 for the Department of Racing, Gaming and Liquor. Can you please turn to page 573? And just zoom out the top paragraph headed Control and Ownership of Burswood Limited. Just ask you to read that section, Mr. Hodge.
Right.
So there's a reference in this section, in the second paragraph, to the issue of a probity approval notice by the Gaming and Wagering Commission to PBL WA Proprietary Limited.
Right.
How was the probity approval assessed? How did the Gaming and Wagering Commission decide that it should issue a probity approval notice to PBL WA Proprietary Limited?
I think it was based on the fact that PBL was an established company, and they had already established Crown Casino in Melbourne, and on that basis, at that point in time, there was nothing untoward about Crown, and on that basis, they provided a probity approval notice.
And was the probity approval notice provided following a submission being provided by the department about PBL?
A submission would have been provided to the Commission. The Commission would have decided to issue that notice.
And what matters would have been addressed by that submission?
I guess probity matters in relation to the suitability of Crown Casino to hold a casino license in WA.
And then the first sentence identifies that in September 2004, PBL WA Proprietary Limited acquired full control of and ownership of Burswood Limited. From that time until you stepped down in 2007, did you notice any change in the interactions between Burswood Casino and the Gaming and Wagering Commission?
No, it was exactly the same.
The final topic that I wanted to ask you about briefly is just at your witness statement at paragraph 12, you state the only time I interacted with regulators from other states was at yearly casino conferences. I cannot recall providing any information to other Australian states. If you mean the regulators in the
Regulators in
other
other
states.
states, yes.
The interaction with those regulators at casino conferences, was that the Australasian Casino and Gaming Regulators Conference?
I believe it was. I think that was the title.
And
Yes.
did you attend that conference each year?
Yes, I did.
And was the Gaming and Wagering Commission actively involved in the Australasian Casino and Gaming Regulators Conference?
Actively involved to the extent that we attended every conference. And where we were required to provide some input, we would provide that.
Yeah. There's no further questions, however, there's just two matters regarding exhibit numbers that I might as well clarify now if that's convenient to the Commission. The first is that my junior heard that when the witness statement was made an exhibit, that the number that was assigned to it was a GWC number, but it should be a WIT number, so it should be WIT.0004.001.001. So I just note that.
I might have been making that mistake since the 10th of May. We best check that. Thank you for
and the other
attention.
Yes, and the other document was I took the Commission to a particular page in PUB 0008, 0005, 0001. Do you know what that is? Sorry, I won't detain the Commission now. We can attend to this
All right.
later.
Thank you. Mr. Darmananda?
Nothing arising, thank you.
Mr. Malone? Nothing? Mr. Evans?
Just a couple of caps, Commissioner, thank you. Mr. Harris, I think Mr. Sharp took you to a few questions in relation to your appointment as Chief Casino Officer, you recall that?
Yes.
Now, during your time with the various departments, is it fair to say that your understanding was the position of Chief Casino Officer was effectively attached to the role of the most senior casino officer of the department below the Director General?
I believe so, yes.
Yes. That is, it formed part of the general part of the JDF of that officer, as a responsibility was to perform the role of CCO, is that correct?
I don't think it was part of the JDF.
Thank you. And also, just looking at your history of employment with the departments, am I right in thinking that while you had at very different stages responsibility for inspectorates, for the inspectorate, you actually never performed the role of an inspector?
That's right.
Yes. So in your capacity, you were familiar with the roles that the inspectors performed, but you were not directly concerned with the performance of those roles?
I was, as director, I would have been concerned with the performance of those roles, for sure.
So you were concerned to ensure that the roles were performed?
Were performed and performed properly.
Yes. And you had normally sitting below you a senior inspector, is that right? Or one
Say again?
You normally had below you a
Yes.
senior inspector
Yes.
or one of your senior inspectors?
Yes.
And it was actually their responsibility to supervise the
Exactly.
inspectors on a
Yes.
detailed basis. And similarly, in relation to the what I call the audit and review programs, you mentioned that those were developed before your time, but it's the actual program of works that the inspectors
They
performed?
started to be developed before my time, yes.
So you were familiar with the form of those audit and inspection programs, but To what extent were you familiar with the detail of them?
I wasn't familiar with the detail of them. The manager of inspections or the chief inspector would have been more familiar with those details.
So your concern with those programs was really their outputs. That is what got reported up to you in terms
That's
of
right.
the results.
If those programs produced any breaches,
Yes.
they would then come back to me.
And you were the interface with the commission effectively in relation to the reporting of such matters.
That's right.
Indeed, I think in your statement you refer to yourself as being the executive officer of the commission.
Yes.
Is that really a way of saying that the combination of the roles that you performed was such that you were the principal executive of the department responsible for effectively carrying out the functions of the GWC?
That's right.
So in that regard, just to take you back a question or so to something you mentioned about the supervision of junket and junket operations. You mentioned that the inspectors at one stage were present during the cash-in and the cash-out effectively of junket
The
operators.
settlement, yes.
Now, my understanding of that is that junket operators, in fact, and their clients gamed at the casino using a particular and a different form of chip to regular gamers. Is that correct?
I believe so, yes.
And the purpose of the cash in and cash out in that case was actually well, I'm saying that was really a revenue control mechanism to ensure that they were properly accounted for.
Yes, I would say so.
And that was part of one of the functions of the inspectors, which has perhaps been a little underplayed in the questioning, which was to validate the revenues earned by the casino from its different forms of operation.
Well, they were there for the buy-in as well as for the settlement, yes.
That's right. And that was of some importance, was it not? Because international operations, including junket operations, actually bear a different rate of taxation under
Yes.
the state agreement.
Right.
So clearly distinguishing between the different revenue streams which were coming into the casino was actually important for the performance of the state agreement.
Yes, perhaps it is, yes.
And that was an important function of the
It
inspectorate.
was, yes.
Could the operator bring up PUB 0004 I only have an at page 0234, if that's possible. It's the 1996 review of the Gaming Commission Act. That's not page. Can you go back to page 148? That's also a recommendation. My apologies, my handwriting was not keeping up with the position. Can I put this proposition to you? Do you recall this review at all?
I do recall the review, yes.
Do you recall that the review reported that the original requirement for junket operation monitoring was one which was actually instigated by WA Police?
Say that again.
Do you recall that it was actually, that according to the review, it was actually the Western Australian Police that actually instigated the requirement for junket operation reporting?
I can't recall that.
You're talking, there's a distinction between reporting and approval.
Sorry, yes, and there is perhaps a slight conjunction of the two, that the actual approval mechanism seems to have been driven by the police according to the review.
Is that the question you want to, the witness to
That is probably
address?
better question. Thank you, Commissioner. The question is, was the requirement for the approval of junket operators originally driven by WA Police? Do you recall that?
I cannot recall that because that started in 1985 and I wasn't there in 1985.
No, thank you. I won't take it any further. And finally, Mr. House, you made a comment in relation to the change of arrangements when rosters were changed. In response to a question from a learned friend, that the decision to reduce hours was a decision of the Gaming and Wagering Commission. Do you recall that?
I believe I said it was the approval of the Gaming and Wagering Commission.
Yes.
It was driven by the Director General, and the Director General then informed the Commission, and essentially the Commission didn't object to those changes.
Yes, that was where I was about to come to. Thank you, Mr. Howard. No further questions. Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you, Mr. Evans. Commissioner Jenkins?
Mr. Halge, I have some questions arising out of your evidence. Can we turn to the issue of junkets first of all? It seemed that the recommendation of that review into the Gaming Commission Act in 1996 was that the directions which had been issued under Section 24 should be removed. Is that your understanding? We can perhaps even, if we can turn to the relevant page of that, where the recommendation is.
Was it 243 or 148?
Anyway, perhaps we don't need to go there. Do you just understand that it was as a result of the recommendation of...
It would have been as a result of the recommendation.
That direction was removed and replaced with regulations?
Yes, that's right.
And did you understand that there was any significant difference between what had been provided for by provided for by direction and which was replaced by regulation?
Having said that, I wasn't, while I was present at the Commission meeting, I had nothing to do with that particular recommendation in 1996. I wasn't the Chief Casino Officer at the time.
So you became the Chief Casino Officer in 1997.
That's right.
And I think it was then in 1999 that the new regulations in respect of junket operations came into being. Do you recall that?
I don't. I recall the regulations coming into existence. I can't remember the date, but if you say it's 99, I'll accept that.
All right. Then that being the case, when the regulations were in place and junket operators or their representatives had to apply for approval to operate junkets, my first question is, do you recall whether they had to apply every time there was to be a junket, or did, once they got approval as a junket operator, did that approval last for a particular period of time?
I think they had to apply every time. That's my understanding. However, if they'd already been in on one occasion and they were coming back 6 months later or 9 months later, the approval process wouldn't have been as stringent as the first time.
Second question is, did the approval application go to the commission itself, or did you or someone else grant the approval under delegation?
My understanding is that the report went up to the Commission for approval.
Then was there a register of approvals or anything of that nature?
I can't recall, but there could have been a register. There must have been a register.
And otherwise, you would expect there to be a record in the Commission's minutes referring to the authorisation of each and every application?
Yes, I believe so.
And would that be the case for both junket operators and junket operators' representatives?
Yes.
Both had to apply,
yes,
as
there
I
would.
understand.
There would have been that. Yes.
And when you left in 2007, what was your view as to how that junket approval application process was working?
It seemed to be working all right.
Did you have a view as to whether that process for approval should remain in force or not?
It should remain in force.
Do you recall whether by 2007 the GWC and by virtue of that the department were getting any or much assistance from the police in that approval application process?
In relation to junkets, no. We weren't getting much assistance from the police.
And did you have any understanding as to why that was the case?
Because the funding that was initially provided by the department for that one police officer to make those investigations, that was discontinued in the late 1990s, around about 1999.
So turning then to that person's position, do you now recall why funding for that position was removed?
I cannot recall why it was done. That's a question that should be put to the Director General.
And in terms of the exercise of your duties and functions, did you find that position to be of assistance or not?
I think it was always of assistance to the Commission and to people investigating our inspectors. It would always be of assistance and should perhaps never have been disbanded.
And that person was a police officer.
Yes.
Funded, but your understanding is he was funded, or his or her position was funded by the commission, by the Gaming Commission or the GWC.
Yes.
So who did that person report to? How did the reporting function then?
Reported through myself or through the senior inspector to the Commission.
And I would assume that they would also have a reporting obligation to the Commissioner of Police.
I would assume so.
Do you think it would be of assistance for the Commission itself to have a police officer as a member of it?
Probably not a member of it, but certainly somebody who could assist the Commission with any investigations that involves junkets or, for that matter, any other aspect of casino operations.
Can I take you back then to 2005, 2006, when the proposal was to refurbish and enhance the facilities of the casino. And part of that was to establish an international gaming facility to be called the Pearl Room.
Yes.
Do you recall whether there was any discussion around that time, either in the Commission or the department, about whether there might be a need for increased regulation of the international business of the casino because there was going to be that enhancement?
As far as personnel is concerned,
Just generally, whether
Just
it,
generally.
well, it should be looked at again. And can I sort of put a scenario
Yeah.
through? The casino says it's going to
Yep.
have a special designated facility for international business, i.e., there's going to be may well be an increase in the amount of international business. Should we be looking at that there might be additional risks for a regulator to consider? What should we do about that? That sort of train of reasoning.
yeah. Well, certainly the Commission looked at the surveillance facilities available and whether those surveillance facilities were adequate to cover the extension of the main gaming floor, as well as the establishment of this new gaming facility, i.e. the Pearl Room. Having been satisfied that the surveillance facilities, electronic surveillance facilities were adequate, it was approved.
So I appreciate that you finished in 2007 before, I suppose, the enhancements really occurred. But over the course of the time, 1997 to 2007, that you were the Chief Casino Officer, did you see an increase in the amount of international business at the casino or not?
Yes, there was.
And did you see any increase in the or change to the risk profile of the casino as a result of that?
No, we didn't see that at all.
And in that respect, did you, I mean, just tell me whether yes or no, I'm not suggesting there was or there wasn't, but I'm just interested to know, did you see more cash with the international businesses?
I cannot recall that.
Right.
I cannot recall that.
Larger bets in general?
There were always large bets in the international room. But no, I can't answer that question.
And a related topic, and that is that there was and is still although I understand, of course, that international business is not, junket business is no longer being operated at the casino, but there is a casino direction relating to the funds advance facilities, that is credit or lines of credit being provided to international commission business players. Do you recall that?
I cannot, I'm sorry.
Do you recall whether, the casino being allowed to advance credit to international commission business players?
No, I can't recall that at all.
Right. So you can't recall whether they were or were not allowed to provide credit
That's right.
to any gamblers?
Particularly to junket operators.
Right. And one final question in relation to, or one final line of questions. I must give my fellow commissioners time to ask questions. In respect of your delegations, did you make changes to the directions using that power of delegation?
Not without the approval of the Commission.
The prior approval of the Commission or post-approval?
if we were making changes to directions that had already existed, I would have put that up to the Commission. If I was trying to introduce new directions, I would still take that up to the Commission.
And what about the Casino Operations Manual? We've heard about it. Do you recall it being...
I do recall it.
Would you make changes to the Casino Operations Manual under delegation?
I didn't make any changes to the manual.
And did you attend the casino operations meetings that took place between departmental staff and casino
I attended
employees?
some. I have no doubt that there would have been other meetings between inspectors and other casino staff.
But did you attend a regular monthly meeting with casino?
There were regular meetings. It wasn't a monthly thing, but there were regular meetings I attended.
And what was the purpose of those meetings, as far as you're
Well, to look at certain aspects of the functioning and the running of the casino and where they felt that changes could or should be made. We discussed that before taking it any further.
So that's really my last question was, would you at those meetings give directions, in sort of small d directions, to the casino employees about what they could and couldn't do in terms of casino operations?
In some instances, perhaps, yes. But if I felt that the request by the casino employee or the casino licensee was such that I needed to take it to the Commission, I would take it to the Commission.
Thank you, Mr. Howard.
Okay.
Just briefly, Mr. Howard, you talked about the audit programs. Can you just tell me how they were developed?
We had a person on staff who came from a financial firm, Ernst & Young, and he developed those audit programs. I cannot help you any further.
No, that's fine. I just wanted. Did you look at other jurisdictions, or were they just developed by the departments?
I think it was just developed by the department. We
Right.
were one of the first people who developed audit programs.
And would you be able to tell me what the overall objective or focus of the audit programs was, just in general terms?
Well, in general terms, I think it was to eventually move the presence of the government inspectors away from the casino.
But I mean, in terms of what the audit programs were trying to achieve,
Right.
they were looking for. I mean, was it about protection of the revenue, or seeing that the games were played fairly, or?
Essentially games, mainly games, and other functions that we felt were important to investigate. We developed audit programs around them.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Howard, can I also ask you some questions about the delegated power, the
Yep.
exercise of delegated power? I think your evidence was that you regarded the process of delegation as allowing for concurrent exercise of powers. Is that correct?
Yes, I did, yes.
And you said that so far as you can recall, there was never an occasion on which the Commission opposed an exercise of delegated power.
That's
I
right.
remember saying that, but you were then asked, well, what would the process have been had that situation occurred? Do you remember those questions?
Yes, I do.
This may sound simplistic, but would not the ability of the Commission to make an informed decision depend on the amount of information they had about the subject matter of the exercise of the power?
Yes.
And can you recall now, as a general statement, the sorts of information or the extent of the information that you would provide to the monthly meetings of the Gaming and Wagering Commission on the exercises of delegated power? If you can't recall, that's...
Well, if I've exercised any delegated power, that I felt needed to be taken to the Commission, I would write up a full report and provide it to the Commission. And that would have been on the basis that I felt that that was important for the proper functioning of the casino.
Would you have given the Commission a list of all of the exercises of delegated power, perhaps in a truncated form?
No,
So it was only matters that you thought needed to be drawn to their
That's right.
attention? All right, thank you. I have a couple of questions which I just need to clarify, and that is about controlled contracts. You remember the questions you asked about controlled contracts? In section 29A, there's a definition of controlled contract, and it relates to the supply of goods or services, and then these words, or to any other matter that is prescribed as a controlled matter. Now, most of the material to which you were taken in I think from the annual report, it was I think a report from you, were about the provision of equipment,
Right.
supply contracts. What I'm asking you is, so far as you can recollect now, were there other matters that were prescribed as controlled matters outside the terms of the supply of services or goods?
I can't recall if there were other matters prescribed.
And you, can I ask you this, again, this is to clarify for me. In the period, you were on the committee, I think, from the 1980s.
I wasn't on the Casino Control Committee. I was basically sitting in on all Gaming Commission and Gaming and Wagering Commission meetings from 1987 onwards.
Right. Well, then let's then just limit this question to the period 1997, when you became the Chief Casino Officer, to 1999, when the casino regulations were enacted. At that period, first of all, at that stage, I think you agreed that the, if you like, control of junket operations was by direction.
Right.
Did you see any change or relaxation of the degree of control in that period?
It certainly wasn't brought to my attention by my inspectors.
And can I ask you the same question in the period from 1999, when the Casino Control Regulations Part 3, which deals with junket operations, was enacted, and 2007, when you left? Could I ask you that same question? Did you see any form of relaxation of the controls?
I didn't see any, and none was brought to my attention.
All right, thank you. Now, I've drawn an impression from your evidence overall, and I'm going to ask you whether you think the impression I've drawn is fair. You said that when you started in 1997, there was a one-person unit from the police who assisted with the surveillance of junket operations and possible criminal infiltration, and you found that as a very useful thing to assist you in the way you went about your tasks. Is that right?
That's right.
And then in 1999, that position was abandoned due to withdrawal of funding. Now, the impression I've drawn from your evidence is that from that time on, there was little or no collaboration between the Gaming and Wagering Commission and the West Australian Police. Is that a fair impression?
That's a fair impression, yes.
All right, thank you. And my final question to you relates to your dual roles as the Chief Casino Officer and the Deputy Chair of the Commission. You said, I think, that you attended almost all of the meetings of the Gaming and Wagering Commission.
That's right.
You put up recommendations and put up papers and presumably assisted them by answering questions that they might have. But when you were in that role, did you regard yourself as being part of the decision-making process of the Commission?
No.
In the times when you acted as, well, I'll ask you the question, did you ever attend a meeting in your role as Deputy Chair?
Only when I chaired a couple of commission meetings.
Okay. On those occasions, did you regard yourself as part of the decision-making process?
Yes, I did.
Right, thank you. Mr. Sharp, is there anything arising from...
Sorry, Mr. Howell.
That's
There was
all right.
an answer you gave to Mr. Murphy that I don't know that I quite caught it. I think his question was, what did you understand the purpose of the audits to be? And you mentioned something about the ultimate removal of the
Yes.
What did you mean?
What I meant was that the development of these risk-based programs was such that we would be able to regulate the casino without having inspectors at the casino 24/7.
So that was a thought process or a planning process going on even back
95,
when it was,
96.
right, very early on. And by the time you left in 2007, did you think they should be removed entirely or only partially from the floor of the casino?
I had my doubts that they should be removed entirely. I felt that there should always have been a presence at the casino.
Thank you.
Mr. Sharp, anything arising from that?
Just a couple of quick matters. In response to questions from Mr. Evans, you accepted that you'd never performed the role of a casino inspector. During the questions that I put to you, you gave a description of how the inspectors would perform their role. Was that description based upon your own observation of the inspectors performing those roles, or was it based upon reports to you about how they perform their roles?
My observation and my knowledge of what had happened over the previous years.
And another question that was put to you was whether you considered yourself to be Principal Executive Officer carrying out the functions of the GWC, and you agreed with that proposition.
That's right.
Do you consider yourself to be Principal Executive Officer carrying out the functions of the GWC in respect of the wagering matters for the GWC?
No.
There's no further questions. And just briefly, the other issue with the document numbering was that a document was tendered, which was the Government Gazette, 22 April 1997, as PUB 0008 0005 0014, but it should have been tendered as the number PUB 0008 0005 0001.
The transcript will have that notation, and the exhibit list, as it emerges, will contain that number. Now, Ms. Seawood?
No questions, thank you.
No. Mr. Howell, thank you very much. That's been very useful. You've assisted us greatly. Thank you very much.
Thank
And you're now free to go.
Thank you.
And we will adjourn and resume at 2 p.m. Thank you.